A ban on wearing the full face veil in Belgium is echoing around Europe. Supporters denounce the burqa as a security threat and an insult to women's dignity. Opponents say the move is a restriction on the freedom of expression. And how do human rights fit into this controversial decision? This is Inside Story. Hello and welcome to the programme. I'm Nick Clark. Banning the burqa after years of debate, Belgium's lower house of parliament voted unanimously on Thursday for a law that would ban women from wearing the full Islamic face veil in public. The law bans any clothing that obscures the identity of the wearer. It now goes to the Senate for approval before it would get enforced. Once approved, women wearing the burqa could be fined or sent to jail for a week. The move is the first of its kind in Europe and it's provoked huge reaction. Amnesty International, for one, say it sets a dangerous precedent. Restrictions on human rights must always be proportionate to a legitimate goal. A total ban on full face veils would not be. But ministers in Belgium say this ban will instead protect women and their rights.
There is no other way to look at the veil but as a mobile prison. It takes away any possibility for human communication and contact and destroys the humanity and freedom of the woman.
Well, joining us now are our guests. In Brussels, we have Jazeera English. He's a member of the Belgian Parliament. Also in Brussels, Ian Trainer, Europe editor of the British newspaper The Guardian. And in Birmingham, in England, we're joined by Aba El Salah. She's the chair of Project Hijab. That's a campaign supporting religious dress freedom. Welcome to you all. Welcome to Inside Story. Jazeera English, if I may start with you. In a modern, fair society, on what basis is it acceptable that a woman should be denied the right to cover her face if she wishes?
Well, it's a question of public order and also respect of the values of a modern democratic society. If I have the right, if the person who is wearing a burqa has the right to see me, I have the right to see her also. That's simply basic, and it's also a question of public order, of course.
Okay, Aba El Salah, what do you say to that? It's a question of public order and the right of a modern democratic society.
Well, I think these countries who claim to support the right of Muslim of women in general, they need to question this claim because this is a basic human right for a woman to choose what she would like to wear. It's no one's right to tell any woman to choose what she personally chooses. This is a basic human right that is supported by the European Convention for Religious Freedom, and which actually Belgium and France both have signed on that law, so on that convention. So basically, what we are speaking here about is the Muslim woman's right to live in these societies, as far as she's not causing any trouble to the society, as far as she's living with her peace and with her family and with anyone else in the street, and she's not causing any trouble to anyone else. Why should they oppose and come down to her religious freedom and dress?
In Trainer, what kind of damage do you think this whole issue is doing to relations between the Muslim community and the rest within Europe?
So far, I wouldn't say it's done too much damage, but for a simple reason that it's a bit of a kind of a phony issue, really. It's a phantom problem. What we just had in Belgium the other evening was a piece of legislation dealing with a problem that actually doesn't exist. I mean, it might be seen as a preemptive strike or something against a potential problem further down the road, but in fact, among the estimated 500,000 Muslims or so that live in Belgium, I'm living here in Brussels, have been for several years. I don't see any burqas or niqabs in Brussels or in Antwerp. So when we talk about public order, if there is a threat to public order here, I'd like to hear a bit more about it, but I'm not aware of it.
Let's put that point to Jazeera. What precisely are the public order issues that you're talking about?
Well, just the fact that you have to be recognized in the street when you are working for a security reason. For example, if the police want to ask you your identity, you have to be visible. That's
But
a
that's
question
not really a
of
public
common
order
sense.
issue, is it? It's not a case of crimes are actually being committed by people whose face you can't see.
Well, you know, everybody is suspected to commit infractions at any time in the street, especially in this period of sometimes whatever terrorist attack or whatever. You have to be.
Yeah, but how many?
You have to
well,
be
let's
visible
look at this.
in the
How many
street.
crimes have been committed in Belgium by someone wearing a burqa or a face veil? Do you have any idea?
Oh, so there have been crimes committed by people not especially wearing burqas, because the question is not only for burqas, it's for everybody. There has been crimes or attack committed by a motorbiker with their helmet, for example.
Abrel Salah?
Why do you ban the burqa if you don't have any threat to the public or the society? And I don't think that any lady who wears the burqa will refuse lifting the veil on her face in front of any lady in terms of the passport or for any security reasons. I don't think that she will refuse that, and I don't think in Islam it is forbidden. So you are damaging your society by this law. What you are doing is you are damaging your society. You should have a multicultural society. You should encourage, as politicians and as media people, you should encourage actually the multiculturalism and respecting the other minorities in your society. This is what you should be doing.
Xavier Besselin?
Madam, if you're living in Belgium or in Europe, you have to respect the laws that we vote.
I am living in Europe.
And you have to know, excuse me, you have to know that unanimity of all the deputies of all the parties decided to vote this text. So this is a question of democracy. The people want this law has been voted, you have to respect it.
In Trainer, isn't it true to say that in this modern world that there are the security concerns as such that we just have to accept that people have to be transparent, have to be seen?
Well, perhaps, but I mean, we're wandering into the territory of extreme disingenuity here, are we not? I mean, if we listen to the Belgian legislature at the moment, all of a sudden we've discovered a need to prevent armed masked robbery or whatever by guys in motorbikes with helmets, or people going into banks wearing masks over their faces. Of course, that's not the point of this legislation. It's disingenuous in the extreme to suggest that it is.
So in your view, what is the point of this legislation?
Armed robberies, bank robberies are illegal. They are against the law already. And suggest that this new law, and there are civil ironies involved here, of course. Mr. Basselin is saying that there is a large consensus here in Belgium on this issue, and that is certainly true as far as the Federal Assembly was concerned last week. In fact, it was a highly unusual state of affairs for the Federal Assembly in Brussels in Belgium to be united on anything. And as we know, the government collapsed a couple of weeks ago, and the 11 political parties in the federal parliament find it extremely difficult to agree on anything, but yet we had 141 out of 150 representatives voting in favour of this. So clearly there is a large consensus straddling two halves of a very divided country, the French-speaking, the Dutch-speaking, from left to right, from the Greens on one side to Flemish nationalists on the other. And that much is true. As for the public, I'm not aware of any very, very strong public pressure on this issue. We're basically dealing, as in Switzerland a few months back on the minarets issue, we're dealing with problems that don't actually exist. Let's ban minarets in a country where we actually don't really have any, and let's ban burqas in a country where they're invisible in any case.
Xavier Besselin, it's a complete overreaction, it's petty and it's pointless.
Well, you know, all the citizens that I'm meeting and with whom I'm speaking are concerned about this issue and find that this is a good law. So I find a large support even in the political area, but also in the street by the citizens who really agree with this issue and this law. A large consensus.
We talk about protecting people's dignity, Xavier Besselin, don't we? But isn't that a matter of choice? If you force dignity on people, it's up to them how dignified they feel, how they want to look or feel.
Sir, I'm not talking about dignity. I'm talking about the fact that if you are walking in the street, in the public area, you have to be visible. You have to be visible. If a person, after, for example, a helmet or burqa, has the right to see you, I have, as a citizen in the street, the right to see her. This is a question of common life.
Okay. Abril Salah?
I'm afraid what you're doing is basically attacking Muslim women who are living in your country, and you are speaking about Muslim women who are originally from Belgium themselves. You know that 80% of the schools in Belgium have actually banned the hijab itself before Belgium has a ban on the hijab, and that damaged those young girls who chose to wear the hijab, and you are banning them now, banning the hijab and banning them to attend schools and go to higher education. Have you thought of these girls? Have you thought of these young women? Have you thought of the damage that you are doing to your society? Actually, what you need to do is to research and understand and bring communities together. This is what you need to do. And Belgium itself is now following, the problems that happened in France in 2004 and the ban on hijab, and now they've taken it a step further to ban the burqa itself. There is no problems for Muslim women, those who chose to wear the burqa, actually to do anything against those societies. They would like to be within their society and within their communities, but you are preventing them with this anti-social and anti-Islamist extremists. This
Absolutely not, madam. Absolutely not.
This is a state. This is
Absolutely
a
not.
state-sponsored. This is a state-sponsored anti-Islamic movement.
Okay, Xavier Besselin?
No, madam. I think that you're completely wrong. I mean, you're talking about integration. Do you think that a woman wearing a burqa, for example, is going to have no? First, listen to the question, then you give an answer. Do you think that a person wearing a burqa, a woman wearing a burqa, is going to get a job, for example, by a Belgian employee? I don't think so. Do you think so?
You don't have to stand on her feet. You don't have to stand in her position. She chose that. She chose that. Maybe she doesn't like to go for a job, but that's not a problem. I mean, we have many Muslim women with the burqa. I know myself a lady with the burqa, and she's a lecturer, and there's nothing wrong with that. And she faces society and she deals with society. So instead of dealing with all the problems of the health problems and the domestic violence and all the educational problems, and now you have those political problems in Belgium, you are dealing with the very few, I think maybe you can count them, very few ladies who are with the burqa in Belgium. I mean, now it is going to be, can you imagine sending a lady because she chose her religious dress? You are going to send ladies to jail because of her freedom to choose her own dress.
It's true to say, Xavier Besselin.
What freedom? You really know that there is no freedom after this.
Let me just jump in there. Let me just jump in there, if I may. But it's true to say, I was going to say, Xavier Besselin, that there really aren't that many people that this affects in terms of the burqa and the full Islamic veil within Belgium, are there?
Are there a lot? That's your question? Are there a lot concerned about that?
No, there aren't. What I'm saying is there aren't actually that many people who are affected by this.
Well, whatever. If there are 20 or 50 in Brussels, maybe 100 tomorrow or maybe 200 tomorrows, because that's also the question. It's time to say no. In Belgium, in our country, in the public streets, it is not permitted, even if it's 50 persons.
Okay.
I really don't care.
Okay, Xavier, I'll tell you what, let me throw this at you. Amnesty International, they said this: it violates the right to the freedom of expression and religion of those women who wear the burqa or the niqab as an expression of their identity or their beliefs, their religions. It's part of their religion. You're affecting their freedom, their right to express themselves.
Oh, you know that the freedoms are not without limits, and you can put limits, for example, for other reasonable purposes. For example, the public order, and that's in fact the justification of the law, the fact that you have to be visible in the street. And we are not the only country thinking about that. You know that France is also thinking about it, and I think it's time. It's time to say that in all democracy there are values to be respected also, in respect with all the people who want to come to live in Belgium or in France. But you have to respect the values and the law of the country, as we have to respect the laws of some countries when we go there.
Yes, but I'm afraid. Sorry, can I comment on that?
Of course, go ahead.
Yes.
Yes, I'm afraid what you are doing now is basically, this is a state-sponsored discrimination against women, and this will sweep into the minds of the public. And cases like what happened last July, the 1st of July, of the killing and the murder of Marwa Sherbini, was actually because of the political and geopolitical discrimination against those Muslim women and against Muslim people. So what you are doing is you are actually encouraging someone like that murderer who killed our sister Marwa Sherbini on the 1st of July last year.
You know, I think that the burqa is discrimination against women. That is my personal opinion. And
this is not
you
for
are
you
talking
to
about
say.
the freedom.
This is not for you to say.
About,
it's for the Muslim.
No, but you're talking about freedom of women. You're talking about freedom of women. It's incredible to hear you about that when you're talking about burqa. For me, the burqa is against the liberty and freedom of women. This is my personal point.
Have you asked these women? Yes, but have you asked these women? Have you attempted to do any form of research? Have you asked these women?
You know,
have you attempted to do any form of research with these women and tell us the proof that these women are telling you that they are not free?
I met a lot of Muslim women saying, you are right. You're right with what you're doing, and continue what you're doing, because you are helping women who don't dare to tell the truth and what they are living day after day.
Okay, guys, I'm going to jump in there. I'm jumping in there just for a second because I want to move this on to a kind of European-wide context. Belgium's ban on the burqa was followed by calls from the German Vice President of the European Parliament for the ban to be implemented throughout Europe. It is undoubtedly an issue right at the top of the agenda. In France, as we've been discussing, the government is set to look over a draft bill next month looking at the controversial debate about religious freedom. President Sarkozy, already spoke in favour of a full ban last month. In Germany, 7 of its 16 states banned teachers in state schools from wearing headscarves. And as a policy, as a matter of individual states in Germany, this is of huge significance there. And local decrees have attempted to ban the burqa in Italy, but the national government has yet to pass any legislation on the matter. While in the Netherlands, they recently decided to retract a proposal for a general ban on Muslim women wearing veils in public, but still do not want the veil worn in schools and in government offices. Having said all of that, Abu El-Salah, true to say that there's all sorts of issues that come up, including in the UK, this issue of people being allowed or not to wear Christian crosses in the workplace. Isn't this what's happened in Belgium just another move towards general secularism? It's not actually targeting Islam specifically.
I'm afraid when you deal with the Islamic dress, it's completely different when you are speaking about the cross or the other religious. In Islam, the hijab is not only a symbol. It's not actually a symbol. It is a requirement of the religion. So a woman, when she wears the hijab, she's fulfilling God's words. And actually, if I don't think that if somebody is not wearing the cross, that they are not fulfilling their religious duty. There is a function for the hijab. There is a function for the religious dress. It's not only a symbol. It is not actually. We do not call it a symbol. It is. It has a function. It has the modesty function, and it is actually a matter of personal choice when she wants to follow her God's. When she wants to follow God's. Words. So,
Xavier, let me jump in there. I just want to bring in Xavier Besselan as well, because we're getting towards the end of the programme, and just want to share this out. Xavier, ultimately, aren't you fearful of the fact that you are just strengthening the sense of isolation amongst Muslim communities?
Exactly.
I think that what Madame just said is very dangerous, because she asks that the state gives an interpretation of what is in the religion, what is prescribed by religions. And this is really, really dangerous. In fact, I think that in fact, I think that the state has the duty of neutrality. And for example, you were talking about the idea of prohibiting religious signs at work in public administration, for example. I made several proposals of law in this field, in this issue, and I think that we have to go further in this direction. State and religion are two things separated. For example, people who work for public administrations in Belgium, I think that they should be forbidden wearing religious signs at work, for example, whatever, Catholic, Jewish, or Muslim.
But what about the question that I asked you?
What about
the question that I asked you? Don't you think that you are just strengthening the isolation that Muslim communities might feel?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that, as I told you, it's not a discrimination against one religion. It is a question of respecting what we think as Belgian people right in our country. The fact that you have to be visible in the street, that if you live in a community, in a society, you have the right to see me, I have the right to see you. This is a question of common sense, of common life, living together. And I think that the people wearing the burqa, for example, refuse to live with the other and are living in a kind of jail of, for example, religion, or gay, or jail of their husband, I don't know. But they refuse to live in a community.
Abril Salah?
I think I would like to look at this from a positive point of view. The way ahead is to stabilize the communities in Europe. This is the way ahead, and this lies on the shoulders of two parties. First are the Muslim women themselves. We need to be more positive, we need to be active in the societies, and we need to present our religion in the most peaceful way. And on the other side, the politicians and the media and everyone need to work together in order to stabilize and have multicultural societies. And Protect Hijab are going to continue.
That's what Belgium is doing. That's what Belgium is doing for years. For years, madam.
Yes, we called on the 1st of July 2010 to be an International Hijab Solidarity Day to request the end of hijab ban and the burqa ban everywhere in the world. And we requested that, which is the day that Sister Marwa Shirbini was murdered last year. We called for that day to be International Hijab Solidarity Day because we don't want any more cases like Marwa Shirbini killing.
Let me put to you Xavier's point that really ultimately in another country, in a country like Belgium, that it's important that everybody follows that country's way of life, and the way of life is not to cover your face, it seems, in Belgium.
Let us look at that in a positive way. I mean, they are claiming
what is
democracy.
The positive
they are
way?
Claiming the positive way is living together in peace. They are not, as the ladies who wear the burqa are
with
not threatening you.
With the burqa
you
on
are
your
now
head.
banning them from living in
your
society. This
excuse
is
me,
called the
they
hijab.
are
The burqa
forbidding
is the
themselves.
face veil.
No, excuse me, they are forbidding themselves of having contacts with the others. If you are wearing on your head...
They are not forbidding themselves.
A jail, and it's a kind of jail.
You
Excuse
call it
me,
a
it is a jail for women.
Yes,
it is, of course. No, I think by wearing a burqa, you refuse the contact with the other. You cannot say the contrary, madam. You can say the contrary. How do you want to have contact with others if you cover your face? Tell me. Tell me, how? What is the positive sense of wearing a jail?
That's not the case. They chose that.
Oh, excuse me.
They chose that. Why are you... They
choose. How do you know they choose? How do you know they choose? How do you know they choose?
Well, you don't go and ask them if you would like, and there are only very few people, very few sisters in Belgium or in Europe who chose to wear the burqa. And actually, if you would like to have Belgium with the religious freedom, if you want to ban the burqa and ban the hijab, you need to rethink signing the European Convention on Human Rights, because in that European Convention,
got to call it a day there, folks.
Explicitly saying
I'm afraid you're both going to have to agree to disagree
practices.
Because we've run out of time. But I do appreciate it's a very difficult, prickly issue, and we have enjoyed listening to your points of view. Xavier Besselin and Abril Salah, thank you very much indeed, and Ian Traynor, who joined us earlier from Brussels. Thank you, all of you. Okay, that's it from Inside Story for now. Just don't forget, you can send us your thoughts and comments. We're always keen to get hold of them. Inside Story at aljazeera.net. From me, Nick Clark, it's goodbye for now.